Secretary Topper, in your written testimony, you wrote that there was a need for commercial flexibility and proposed authority for DGS to be more effective. And then the first point that you made said that you would like to be able to enable DGS to grant a public service line agreement. Can you explain what this type of agreement is and why it's necessary for DGS to be able to execute such agreements? When I read the testimony and saw the term, it could mean a host of different things. Is it a gas line? Is it a public sewer line? Is it a water line? Electric? In speaking to staff, they indicated it could potentially be a fiber optic line. So can you talk about what it is and why you need to be able to grant such an agreement?
Thank you, Senator. I think it could be all of the above that you just mentioned. I would have to consult staff to get the details for you. I'm not as steeped in the specific transactions here that we're looking for the authority to grant. But my understanding is that it's every time we have a power line that needs to run through a state property, a gas line, could be fiber optic cable.
So when you go back and you talk to your staff, if you could also inquire as to these public service line agreements going for fiber optic cable, will they be used to assist in the further deployment of high-speed internet across the Commonwealth? Do you have any thoughts on that currently?
I think that we have recently executed a contract for the purpose of managing Commonwealth assets in order to make those assets available to wireless providers and to leverage Commonwealth assets, Commonwealth land, Commonwealth buildings in an effort to generate income by making Commonwealth area available for the Verizons and the AT&Ts of the world. And there are two aspects of what we proposed that are relevant here. One is absolutely we would use that authority in order to facilitate the success of that contract. So to the extent that we needed, to the extent that we identified a location where erecting a wireless tower was beneficial, where there was sufficient revenue coming from the potential lease, we would absolutely want to be able to run the cable that made that tower feasible. The second piece is on leasing authority. We have the ability to enter into license agreements that would enable that would enable us to make Commonwealth property available to the wireless providers, but not the ability to enter into lease agreements when we're leasing our own property to third parties for a term longer than 5 years. That's by statute. That's one of the things we're looking to change. If we could enter into longer-term leases for Commonwealth property, that would clarify the law with respect to us being able to make wireless assets available.
So if you can help walk me through this.
Yeah.
The first answer to the question was that you weren't really certain. The second answer to the question is DGS has already executed a contract that says that you can do this, but you can only do this for up to 5 years because you don't have authority beyond the 5 years to execute that contract. Is that correct?
We have executed a contract for the purpose of marketing Commonwealth property to make it available so that we can make a dent in the rural.
So you're marketing property that you say you don't have the authority to lease?
We have the authority, again, according to legal counsel, Office of General Counsel, I have the authority to enter into license agreements to make these properties available to the wireless providers. we would love to have clearer statutory authority with respect to leases.
Mr. Secretary, I am perplexed at this testimony that you're providing here today, because my understanding is that the Department of General Services, that is your job. That is your responsibility. That is your mission and your purpose. And you're now telling me that you are now using a company to do what the General Assembly funds you to do with regard to these state-owned assets for further deploying internet assets. Is that correct?
We've entered into a contract for the purpose of managing the portfolio of assets and making them available to third-party wireless providers.
So what does the Department of General Services do?
We're going to manage the contract. We don't have the technical expertise in-house at DGS to be able to go directly to Verizon and AT&T and say, you know, and help them and help facilitate the transactions that are necessary in order for them to build cell towers. Cell towers are not a core area of expertise for DGS. They never have been.
Mr. Chairman, if I may, an additional question. Mr. Secretary, I have Senate Bill 470. Representative Pam Snyder has House Bill 305 that would require DGS to conduct an inventory of all state-owned assets to see what could be used in deployment of broadband internet. It sounds to me like this is something you've already embarked on.
Yes.
Mr. Secretary, I think that you and I need to sit down and have an additional conversation after this hearing.
Okay. I'd be happy to.
Thank you.